first day of snow was, well, I guess started last night. It's downtown Chicago. There's DL Station. And that's me almost sitting in a truck. Yeah, so house of numbers, HIV AIDS. There's a beautiful chalk tee right there. Now, I've talked about the Berlin Wall. I've talked about communism, landlines, all this kind of stuff from the 90s that kids don't know about these today. Health class during the 90s. This is what was taught. I don't know about other areas, but Chicagoland area. And I grew up in the city and in the suburbs. And I grew up in Chicago city limits, Chicagoland area, which is near city, basically the neighborhoods right outside the city, and DuPage County, which is surrounded on three sides by Cook County, right? This is all Chicagoland area, right? Now, we were told these were majority. The school I went to when I was in well, it doesn't matter, but one of the schools was majority white, grade 6 through 12. Another school was about 50% Hispanic. Yeah. Now, what were you taught? You were taught that even wearing a condom, that you were going to get HIV/AIDS. And abstinence wasn't taught. Trust us. I mean, this is before the religious right. This was the years of Bill Clinton, that there were no risk groups. It wasn't IV drug users. It wasn't hemophiliacs. It wasn't gay people. It was, if you have sex, there's a good chance you'll get HIV/AIDS. And I think the longest anybody had ever lived at that point was 7 years. But they said 3 years with medication, you could live a normal life for 3 years. And Magic Johnson had just become HIV positive. And only if you were really rich enough could you live 7 years. 7 years was the max. Now, what this did is it caused me and every one of my friends, every time we had sex, whether it was a condom, whether it was somebody that we knew, two virgins having sex, a guy and a girl who never had sex but had sex, they would immediately go to the county testing facility to see if they had HIV/AIDS. And you'd get treated like shit by the hospital staff or the clinical staff there, because they'd be like, why the fuck are you here? But that's what was instilled in us. You will get HIV/AIDS. Now, fast forward 20 years or 15 years, yeah, no such thing. But they drilled it into you. You'll die. HIV/AIDS. You're gonna die of HIV/AIDS, or you'll contract it, or you'll have a partner that contract it. And STDs are rampant. No risk factors, because if there were risk factors, then maybe somebody might get blamed, right? if you got a tattoo, if you had, oh, and it wasn't just IV drug users. If you use cocaine, HIV/AIDS. Now, I hope to God they don't teach that shit in school anymore. But, I mean, it was terrifying. You know, you have sex, pregnancy. Also, that's another thing. If you have sex, you're going to get pregnant. And it's not like, I mean, I never knew anybody that went to a Catholic school. This was public schools. If you have sex, that means you're going to have a kid and contract HIV/AIDS or both. The motto was, it just takes one time, just take one, it's just once, just takes once. And in health class, they'd show the movie Kids, where the kid was going around having sex with virgins, and every virgin he slept with, he gave HIV/AIDS. And that was considered real. And there was hell of a lot of people for a long time. I was one of them that didn't think HIV/AIDS was real. It couldn't have been. Because I mean, by the time I was 22, I knew so many people were sleeping around, never caught an STD, never got pregnant, and HIV/AIDS, nobody was dying within 6 months. So, and then also, when I was younger, I grew up in DARE. And DARE, again, it basically told you how to use drugs, and everything we found out about drugs was a lie. Just like everything we found out about sex was a lie. Nobody was stealing from their parents to buy money for, nobody was dying off of marijuana. I mean, it was crazy. It was like reefer madness. And they acted as if shrooms were not detrimental to you, when shrooms are one of the hardest, they're one of the poisonous things on your liver. You can actually die from psilocybin. Yet they didn't teach you that. But crack, they were so worried about crack and cocaine. They didn't even, they just wanted to scare you out of, just use mushrooms, they'll just get you high. Well, I knew 2 people who died from using psilocybin. Pure psilocybin. Their liver failure from psilocybin. No joke. It's just fucking ridiculous. And they teach about shit like PCP. I only came across PCP a few times, and that's when I lived in the city. But they're teaching, when I went out to the suburbs, they like, PCP was apparently the thing out there. Nobody even heard of PCP out in the suburbs. But yeah, between health class and DARE, holy shit. And the people teaching this stuff, the World War II generation and the Korean War generation, totally believed that all the kids were just having crazy sex. They really terrified the shit out of the kids. It was like that Pink Floyd song, The Wall. So this is my advice to kids. Condoms? Oh, not even this. They would tell us condoms don't stop AIDS. That the HIV virus is so small that a condom can't stop AIDS. It might stop pregnancy, but not AIDS. And even then, you can wear a condom and still get pregnant. So, what teenager is not going to try to you know, is not nervous as shit before they have sex. They're gonna be drinking. And then the sheer terror sets in. Oh, what if I got the girl pregnant? What if I have AIDS? What if we both have AIDS? I mean, alright, I'll continue this on a less freaking dangerous highway.